So I wrote a book and it's called Hope Beyond the Pain. It's a guide to restoring hope in the midst of life's brokenness. And so I have the opportunity to share a little bit about that with you today. And so you're going to get a little bit of the snippet of the book, but you're also going to hear a little bit of the context, a little bit of the heart, a little bit of the why of why did this book come to life. Okay, does that sound okay? Good. Y'all have been around me for enough. I know we have a couple new people, but I'm gonna need a little bit more energy of that. Is that okay? All right, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And so it's available on Amazon. I'm not here to sell you, but I here to tell you a little bit about it. So if I were to title this particular segment of this devotional, it is this: our story in His. Okay, somebody say our story. Come on now, our story in His. All right, and so as we begin to get into this, like I said, I'm gonna share a little bit about the book, share a little bit about the why, and I'm gonna share a little bit, of course, about my story. And so I'm gonna ask you for a little bit of permission. I needed permission to be a little vulnerable today. Is that okay? All right, so what I'm gonna do, see, I do not have my Chick-fil-A name tag on right now because that's on purpose, because I'm not gonna bring you Chick-fil-A markets today. I'm gonna bring you authentic markets. I'm gonna bring you markets from the place of where this book came from. And so I want permission to have a safe space. That cool? And I also want to grant permission for you to have your safe space. Is that okay? All right. And so I have a question. Let's start off with this question. What do you do when life begins to crumble? What do you do when the framework of your life, everything that you were pouring your heart out into, everything that you thought was going to flourish, with the path that you have in your mind, you thought that if you were going to continue to walk in this particular light, that this thing, the thing that you were dreaming of, the thing that you were hoping of, the thing that you loved, the thing that you thought was going to flourish, what happens when that does not happen? For me, that was the divorce I walked through 2 years ago, when I thought that the love of my life, I thought that the person that dedicated their life, I thought that the visions, the kids, the dreams, all these things that I really, really thought were going to come to life came crumbling before my eyes. It's almost like you're having this solid object within your hand and it turns to sand, and you're desperately trying to grasp the remnants of what's going on, but you come to the realization that the only thing that you have in your hand is dust. What happens when your life begins to crumble? And so I share that story. I share just a little bit of that because I want you to know that I know what it's like. Because sometimes the grief that happens when we experience loss, whether it's the loss of a relationship, whether it's the loss of a dream, whether it's the loss of a loved one or the loss of an opportunity, or even a past version of yourself, when you experience that loss, it's hard to put that into words, but I'm here to say that I know what it's like. I know what it's like to wake up in the morning and you don't even recognize yourself in the mirror. I know what it's like to come into this parking lot outside, crying your eyes out, trying to talk to your counselor, trying to talk to your pastor, but then you have to wipe your tears and come in here and put on a smiling face and say, how are you doing in the Chick-fil-A way? I know what it's like to wake up and feel like you're a robot and you don't even recognize yourself. It's almost like you're playing a video game and you're seeing yourself go through the motions, but you have no feeling. I know what that's like. To be in a place where you feel like your life is crumbled and you don't even recognize your life, let alone yourself. I've been in countless times in the darkness of my closet, crying out, just whispering like, God, it wasn't supposed to be this way. And it's in the midst of the darkness of that closet that I felt a sense saying, I know what it's like too. And so sometimes we think about the gospel or the life of Jesus, that yes, he lived a perfect life, but his life was not perfect. And so, and you look at Isaiah 53 here that I have it on the screen, second half of verse 2, but the fullness of verse 3, you see that he knows what it's like. He knows what it's like to have no beauty, or that somebody should not desire him. He knows what it's like to feel despised. He knows what it's like to feel rejected. It says that he is a man of many sorrows, acquainted haunted with grief, and that there were literally people that would hide their face from him. He knows what it's like to not be seen, not to be desired, not to be loved, not to be cared for, to be misunderstood. We think that we are sometimes the only people, and there we begin to feel isolated. But he's saying that, no, I am in the midst of that too. I know what it's like too. And it's in that darkness that, in the reconstruction of my life, this picture was taken July 1st, 2023. Excuse me, July 2nd, 2023. This is the morning after I woke up and had to move the remnants out of my household into an apartment that I never desired to be in. And as I'm seeing remnants of my life and some things that are there, some things that are temporary, this unconstructed, this undesired, this place that is filled with void and emptiness, but also a little bit of scattered remnants of the past, was now a place that I had to call home. And so when I thought that my story was over, when I thought that I was going to be there alone, I realized that God never stopped writing my story. And this story was continuing. And so when you think about this story it has a couple of remnants, a framework that I like to call it. And it's just simply this. The story is beautiful. It's bloody, but it's the gospel. So when you think about this framework of this beauty, this brokenness, I want to kind of introduce you to the story arc. I talk about it a little bit in the book, but I just want to introduce, it's like, why was it beautiful? It's bloody, it's the gospel. So when we look at scripture, we see this framework of the beauty. So in the beginning, there was the word, right? The word was God, was good God. Like, we know all that. You have this garden. So you have this original design intent, if you will. Right? We know what it's like to have a design intent where the mindset, you put it out there. It's like, yo, this is going to be great. This operator is going to really, really love this. Like, P14 solves all of mankind's problems. Like, it's going to be great. I understand what the garden is supposed to be like, right? But then after a while, we all know the story. Sin enters the world, and then brokenness ensues. And then because of that brokenness, you have what I like to call this bloodiness, where we have the death, we have the wars, we have the tears, we have the pain, we have all these things that we ask the question, like, why do bad things happen to good people? And it's a very honest question. It's a very honest reaction. And the answer is simple. It's because the world is broken. And because of that brokenness, there's bloodiness. But we know, and in this story, there is something that is beautiful. And it's that very blood that we feel like we're covered in is also the blood that Jesus came to cover us in. And it's through the blood of Christ that restoration happens. That's the opportunity for healing. That's the opportunity for what was broken to now become beautiful again. This is the story arc of the Bible. This is the story of the gospel. This is the story of my life. And where do you see that as we continue on in Isaiah 53? You see, and we get here to verse 11. Yep, verse 11. And it simply says this, that when he sees, talking about Jesus, all that is accomplished by what? His accomplishment? No, by his anguish. He will be satisfied. And because of his experience, my righteous servant will make it possible for many to be counted as righteous. For he will bear the sins of all. Y'all, this is the story of the gospel. This is the gospel. Like, sometimes, especially here in Western Christianity or Western society, we try to reduce the gospel to this mere self-help formula or this moral philosophy. But that is not it at all. The gospel is not just a story, it's a reality. It's the reality of a king who abandoned his throne to come rectify his people. It's the reality of a creator who came to restore and save his creation. It's the reality of a savior that came to save his people. The gospel is not just a story. It's the reality of Yahweh saying that I will not abandon you in your brokenness. This is the story of the gospel. It's painful, it's bloody, but because he experienced it, he knows how to redeem it too. And so I know as you're thinking about this, maybe you might be thinking about your story, because there's something in your life that you had planned, that you thought was going to be beautiful, that you thought was, you had that perfect design intent, but then those plans began to crumble. And you may find yourself like asking, what do I do now? Feeling the bloodiness, the suffering, the pain of the things that you have walked through and had to endure, which is also real and also so true. And also it can and is and will be beautiful again as well. And so when we talk about this thing, that there is hope, that this hope, this belief that it will be beautiful again, goes and stretches beyond the temporary pain and suffering that you may be experiencing, which is also real. And so when you ask Marcus, like, why did you write this book? This is exactly why I wrote it. Because it wasn't that I had all the answers, it's because I needed it myself. I needed it to be able to have hope, to be able to come into this office. I needed it to have hope, to wake up that day, to get going. I needed it to process the pain and the brokenness and the rubble of my life as I began to partner with the Lord, and he put his hands on mine to begin to put the pieces back together. And so if you want to share that hope, by all means, you can scan this or you can look it up. Like I said, I'm not here to try to sell my book, but it's here. But I want to leave you with this as I begin to close. What was once broken and bloody will become beautiful again. What a difference a year makes. Yes, this is a picture of my apartment, but this is just a snapshot of my life, with the remnants of the past mixed in with the beautifulness and the lessons and the colors of what began to be my future, now projecting into the beauty of a new life after the pain. And so it's not to say that, Marcus, you don't feel pain, or Marcus, you're not triggered, or not. It's not to say any of that, but it says that now I have more of an anchor of what it means to move beyond the pain and hold on to hope. And so if there's one thing I want you all to remember today, is that I hope you were able to see with this framework that your story and my story represent the story of the gospel. And so I hope you are able to see your story in his, or should I say our story in his. And it's beautiful, it's bloody, it's my story. And if you allow it to be, it will be your story too. And so once again, my name is MT Crawford. That's my writer's name, y'all. I like it. Sounds a little bit more official than Marcus. Like Marcus sounds like very friendly, but MT sounds like, you know what you're talking about. So, it's like I don't have a doctor. It's like, oh, MT Crawford. Like that sounds a lot better. Marcus Crawford. Oh, that's a nice guy. MT Crawford. Ooh, let me listen to him. Like that's what it is. But what I want you to know is this: that there is hope beyond your pain. You're not alone, and I hope you can see your story in his. And I know that you will see his glory revealed in your life. So thank you very much. That is my time, and God bless you all. Thank you.